So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to speak about user experience today. If it works. Let's give it a try.
It works here.
It works there. Okay. It works on my computer. Ever heard the story? Are you going to sell your computer to the other ones? Shall I try again? Yes. Can you read this? Wonderful. We are full of resources. Huh? Half of the letters are missing, but you can still read it. Isn't our brain, our user brain, fantastic? Well, of course, the subtitle is much clearer. Okay, so why am I speaking about user experience? Because, as I said this morning, for those who attended my previous conference, we are in a world where users become more and more important and more diversified. We are developing IT products and services for everyone today, non-ITers. People that don't care about IT, they don't want to know how it's made, they don't want to know what technology, they don't want to know anything, they just want to use the product. And guess what? They don't know how to use the product in most cases, so they have to figure out. And as you know, no one reads the manual. Right? Okay. And by the way, you don't even get manuals anymore. You just have to connect to the web and check. Or check the video on YouTube because somebody was in the same trouble as you are and solved it for you. Okay? Why do startup fails today? Because there's no market needs. So we develop products that nobody wants. Okay, well, of course, these are startups, so might be that they fail. But also 17% because we design user-unfriendly products. And remember, we all here are ITers. We are experts. We know how a computer works. We can even dismantle a computer and reshape it and do whatever we like. We can program, we can read stuff that are as silly as C# or JavaScript or whatever, and understand more or less what it's saying, right? Okay, you're better than I am. And also, 14% fail because they ignore customers. They sell, but once it's sold, they don't care. Ever met these kind of experience? I will show you. Every day I have that. Big brands just ignoring me. I will tell you true stories. Serious. Okay. So users, what the hell do you want? Because we're addressing the whole world. It's on the internet. Oh, wonderful. What the hell do you want? Okay. We think that we are all the same. We're all human beings, but yeah. There are tall guys, fat guys, thin guys. We are different genders, different cultures, different religions, different preferences, whatever. Okay, what you think is nice or beautiful is not what I think is nice or beautiful, not because I don't like you, just because we are different. Okay? So, there's no typical user, and we have to adapt, we have to be flexible. And by the way, our society is full of contradiction. We want to share our good moments with everyone, our friends, but we want this to be kept private. We want something to be fast delivery, but we want something to be qualitative at the same time. We want to have top-notch quality and service, VIP treatment, but we don't want to pay the money for that. You see? That's full of contradiction. And I can have 10,000 examples like this. Every day, we want something, but we want exactly the contrary at the same time. We, whether we like it or not, we love to play. We are gamers by essence. We like complexity. But we don't like when it's complicated. You understand the difference? So if it's complex, it's a toy, it's funny. If it's complicated, we don't understand. It's not a toy and it's not funny at all. And this is coming from Don Norman, an expert in usability, Norman Nielsen Group. Ever heard of these guys? Jacob Nielsen, Don Norman. They now have a big brand in the US, and they're specialists in usability. They have a very nice newsletter when they talk about usability, and excellent books as well, by the way. Okay? And this is the big paradigm or the big paradox. If it's too simple, it's boring. We don't like simple stuff. We want to have complex stuff because it challenges our mind. Okay? When it's too complex, we feel a little bit inferior. I'm not that dumb. No, it should work. So complexity is not okay. And the real zone is there. Okay? When it's just complicated enough or just complex enough that we can manage. So you see that the challenge is growing. As soon as I'm talking and as long as I'm talking, the challenge is growing. And oh, by the way, it would be too simple like this. We have different categories of users. So this notion of complexity varies, whether you are an expert or a beginner. And the same goes with any kind of activity that you practice. The first time that you ski, the first time that you walk, the first time that you drive, you're a beginner. It's extremely difficult. You have to synchronize all these things. You have to keep your balance, whatever. It's so difficult. And then 20 years later, you drive every day or you ski every year and without the hands, no problemo, okay? So we have to adapt to the various kinds of users, and we have to make sure that we can accommodate every kind of users, because they are our customers. That's like game. How many of you are gamers here? Who play game regularly? ITers, huh? That's obvious. I'm a gamer too, okay? So when you start a new game, you have some kind of controls, you more or less know, how to move and so on and so forth. But still, you have to learn the special commands, the special kind of features of the new game. And you like to have this kind of tutorial period when you're told, okay, if you want to jump, you press on that button. If you want to, I don't know, lie down, you press on that button, and so on and so forth. Right? And once you know, you don't want to have this tutorial anymore. Hey, don't tell me for the 10,000th time that if I want to jump, it's pressing X. I know that. Okay, so get rid of that silly message. So you see what I mean. Okay. Do we hear the sound? No, we don't hear the sounds. Can I get the sound, please? Is it possible to have the sound? No? Yeah, please, because otherwise there's no point in putting the computer there. And I will not dub. That is, well, the story that I'm about to tell is just how the internet can come in real life. So the guy is in the supermarket, and exactly this is a website that is going to be, mimicked by this video. It's a brilliant video, I love it, and I still want to have my sound on, because otherwise I'm going to tell silly joke for half an hour or something. I'm sorry? Okay. Put it on the Ritz, too. Okay, so we'll come to the video later. Let's come to another level of complexity, which is Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Wonderful game if you like to jump into the infinity and see the world from the top. That's wonderful, but there's a big problem to me, because if you have special moves like running on a wall, you have to press a combination of buttons on my Xbox 360 that is absolutely impossible for me to manage. I'm a gamer, but I didn't say that I was an expert gamer or a super, how to say that, remote control player. So basically, there's no possibility for me to do that. So I crash all the time. And you know what I did with the CD? Now I put my glass on it, and it's absolutely perfect because you don't get a stain on the table anymore, okay? Meaning I throw it away. And there's no possibility for me, unfortunately, to customize the stuff. Because what I would expect as a user is that I have the possibility to say, well, let's replace one or two commands by another, and for instance, moving something from the left to the right, and this would go. It happens in some games. You have the possibility to choose different settings. In this one, no. So that's a perfect game, good impression, but I can't use it. This is a real website, screen capture. What is funny is that this is the end result, because the first time you log in, you have the letters coming. And you say, wow, that's good animation, wow, that's good stuff. But then the letters keep on staying, they stay on the screen, and then they just, you know, they are replaced and overwritten, and you get this. Can you read this? Well, let me try. No, I can't. It's not possible. Even trying to, it's not possible. Okay? So, and it comes quite quickly, so you don't even have the time. Yeah, I tried, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And this is it. This is it. It comes very fast, so you don't have the time to read the first line, that the second is already overwriting. And then in the end of the day, you get this. Okay? One of the things that users like is when you keep your promises. But as I told you, users are not always very clever. Users are not always accustomed. So they don't understand, they don't get it. You're laughing. I had the shower experience in the US. When you just have one lever, and you say, what am I regulating with this? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it... I got 4 times a cold shower. Well, okay, it wakes you up, but it's not pleasant. Until you discover how the trick is really working, you know? This one is also funny, you know? This doesn't work on a PS4. Of course not, this is an Xbox. It will never work on a PS4, right? Now you can argue why the old Xbox 360 doesn't work on the Xbox One. This is another story. Thank you, Microsoft, for having me about another set of remote control. 60 euro each. Wow. This is a big brand, okay? Are there HP people in the room? No? Wonderful, because I'm going to tell bad news about HP, my friends. You know, today, when you print, and I do print a lot, when you print, it's cheaper to buy the new printer than replacement cartridge, you know? These cartridges are so expensive. And if you're done by the genuine ones, then you get into trouble, not only because there are counterfeits that ruin your printer, but also because some of them are chipped. So the chip is recognized by the machine, and it tells you, this is not a genuine one. What the fuck did you do? Oh, sorry. Okay? So, I paid a good money to get it. The big problem is that, on the box, I see, oh, because you just bought the genuine stuff, you have the possibility to get some sort of refund or get some extra check to do something with that. I said, well, oh, good. You go to the website, and then it doesn't work. And, oh, by the way, if you just enter the number, oh, you get a lot of screens, everything. That is absolutely wonderful. But if you just enter it twice, it doesn't work either. So you try it, and too bad, it didn't work. So you lose it. Yeah, but what did I do wrong? I paid the good money, I did what you told me, and due to a technical error, I can't get it. Now, we did it again, the website works, but the offer is finished. Thank you very much, HP. I will buy your product again. Okay? This one is also absolutely fantastic. This is a book or course. And you can buy it. But the problem is that it says one price, and then another price, and then another price, and then one price, and then you come back. Yeah, I'm willing to buy for 99 euros. I'm not willing to buy for 999 euros. Which one will I get? What do you do in such a case? You just stop. If the price is different somewhere in the cart, you stop. Finish. Thank you very much. This is a lost sale. This is a lost repeated sales. I will never come back. Yep. I told you a bit this morning about products that evolve in a weird way. And I explained how Facebook changed from I want to date with that lady into I want to influence the election. Okay? These are other examples where our products are doing things that we don't want them to do, or that we want them to do, but not in the way they're used. The first one that is on top, the orange box, is called Strava. Do you know Strava? This is a running application. Okay? That's an app, you run, and you want to share your results with your friends. Look, 5 kilometers, good. And this is where I've been running. Because it is nice pictures, there are swan on the lake, and wow, so wonderful, perfect. And then, of course, because it is shared, you see your path on the map. It's wonderful, isn't it? Who likes to run? Who likes to run in very, very adverse places, like Afghanistan? And who likes to share their wonderful results? Look, how I'm brilliant. Military. So Strava was actually displaying, and it's not even visible, but when you enlarge the map and enlarge and enlarge and enlarge, you see the red dot. And this is where the American soldiers are running in Afghanistan. I didn't know they had a base camp there. Oh, maybe this is a secret base. And oh, they're running like that. Oh, I will put the bomb there. Ain't it fabulous? Welcome to the brand new connected world. Oh, this one is absolutely fantastic as well. That's about privacy. You know? There's a big American brand called Target. And Target is a big supermarket. Okay? And they send you some sort of coupon when you buy products, you get some discounts and so on and so forth. And because they have some sort of data analysis based upon your purchase, they provide you with what you like more. Now, a little bit like Facebook. I give you more of what you like, of what I suppose that you like. Okay? And these guys, by analyzing the data, figured out that when ladies got pregnant, they changed a little bit their habits of consuming. For instance, if you have this hand cream or, you know, the kind of stuff to skincare, okay, you tend to change from the strong scented ones to these that are scenting less, because hormones are playing and you are much more accommodated by strong odors, strong smells, okay? These kind of things. So it's not that you go for a pregnancy test or that you go for these kind of special baby care articles. No, you just change a little bit your habits. But they track that. And there's some kind of algorithm behind and say, oh, wonderful, you're going to get pregnant, or you are pregnant, and you will have a happy event in a couple of months. So let's get this discount on these articles. Problem was that it was sent to the father, because he's got the account. And the lady is less than 18. So the father went berserk and said, what the hell are you sending me? Blah, blah, blah. My girl is a nice girl. Oh, you are pregnant. Oops. You see? Same happened with these kind of wonderful connected watches. The Apple Watch. That lady was running. Again, don't run. It tells too much about you. Stop running, please. Listen to me. Okay? She was running, and what happened is that suddenly the heartbeat was higher than expected, higher than usual. She had a heartbeat, let's say, of 85, while she was normally 78 or something. And she said, oh, maybe there's something broken. And she wrote on the support, And somebody replied, not the support, they didn't know, they didn't figure out, but somebody replied, maybe you are pregnant. And the guy was a medical doctor, and he knows that when ladies are pregnant, the heartbeat is accelerating a bit. That's normal. It's just physiology. And the guy was a doctor, so he knew. She took the pregnancy test, and yes, she was. She didn't know. Thank you very much, Apple, for sharing with the world. Well, something that we never think of. And I had this talk this morning when I tried to break it, tried to think about how it can be used or misused. One thing that is absolutely important is the in-use context. What is the in-use context? This is where and when you're using whatever. The device, the product, the software, and so on and so forth. Think about this. Do you consider this cold? Well, here in Belarus you have cold winters, right? And you can use a computer outside, maybe. Yeah, but if you got to -20, maybe the computer is not working. Okay? Obscurity. You perfectly know when you're working in the dark in the evening, your screen is, you know, very, very aggressive, like. So you have the possibility to tune it and adapt to the light conditions. Same goes with using your smartphone when it's sunny outside. Then you don't see the screen because the contrast is not okay. So all these kind of things can happen and have an influence of what is called the user experience. The user experience is wider than usability. That's the whole experience you have by using the software or the device or whatever, you know, including the use, but also how you feel before and after the use. That's the whole trajectory, that's the whole experience. That's really holistic. And this is what matters because this is what you remember, what you like or dislike. Okay? It might be that you're using something in stressy conditions. You know? Loads of people here are gamers. When you have this kind of countdown that is happening with this big wah, 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 you know that something is happening and you will lose your life. Well, actually, you won't lose anything but 5 minutes, but this is your life. You're into the game. You're in a stressy condition. So it's this much more difficult to coordinate and do all these kind of things and think, what sort of commands am I going to use? Now think in real-life conditions. You're on a warship in the middle of the war, and suddenly you have to make the decision, shall I shoot or not? And then you send the missiles to the plane coming. And eventually, you kill a normal plane with 200 passengers coming from Iraq. Too bad. Stressy condition. All the information was there, but it was stressful. And they had casualties before, and there was the whole history around. And they made a decision because of stress. Oops, sorry. It's too late. You might be tired. You know when you are tired, your reflexes are not the same. Your way of thinking is not the same. Your capacity of processing information is not the same. Okay? You can have a noisy background. Yeah, try to speak with a friend in a disco. You go out, even if you don't smoke. Right? That's about humidity and dust. Yeah, it's wonderful, but what if you go to the Sahara? Or what if you go in, I don't know, Ireland or Iceland? Okay? That's about shock, how we use the stuff. Computers are absolutely wonderful. Ouch, broken. That's why we have hard computers for the army, for instance. Okay? And, yeah, sometimes we do weird things like drinking vodka the day before you have to present, or these kind of things. Yes, okay, it happens. And then, of course, this is the in-use condition. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Okay? So never assume where these application or piece of hardware will be used. You never know. You don't know if people will use your application or your hardware on their coach, while they're traveling, while they're cycling in the metro. You never know. But you have to think where and how they can use it, because you have to design for them. You remember the revolution of responsive design, when people started to shift from normal computing, standing behind a computer, to something that is a tablet or a phablet or a phone or whatever, and now we surf, and most of the traffic is now done remotely by phones on 4G or whatever, okay? And we had to adapt the website, because the website has to be readable for a normal computer with a big size, and for a smaller form factor, which is your phone. And then, of course, well, I'm sorry, but you cannot read these kind of little tiny characters, so we have to shift the design, and you have to make sure that everything is readable in a certain order, and so on and so forth. Well, sorry for the translator, I'm speaking a bit quickly here, but I think that you get the word, okay? So, what do users like, and what do users expect, basically? And there are loads of study. I told you about Nielsen, but you also have a wonderful book from Stephen Crook, which is called Don't Make Me Think. Absolutely fabulous. That's a small book. You read it quite quickly. And it's just the whole concept. If you have to think of what you have to do, it's not good. We had this conversation in the previous talk about the iPhone that had no manual, no nothing, but people got immediately a grip on the design. This is about it. Okay? Why is it blinking? I don't want it to blink.
Maybe it means that you can watch video with...
Voila. Well, we'll come to the video later, depending a little bit. I've got 15 minutes. Well, we'll go to that. That's more important. The video is funny. If you want to stay longer, we'll see the video. So this is heuristics. This is what people expect. Efficiency, effectiveness, learnability, memorability, error handling, and user satisfaction. User satisfaction is hard to measure, so you have to have real users. Well, basically you have to have real users everywhere. Status feedback. This is what we get as a status feedback. We'd like to know what is happening. We like to be in control. So we need to see that it's only 27% downloaded. I want that when I press on the button, the slide moves. Okay? If it's matching with the real world, it's much better, because we already understand the real world. Think about the desktop concept. It's wonderful, isn't it? We have a computer that's just a screen, and we call this a desktop. My desktop is not like this, but this is a desktop. And I have a recycle bin. Or you have a dustbin. It depends if you are green or not green. Recycle or not recycle, whatever. Okay? But the whole concept of a desktop is understood, and it's easy. And as long as you keep it matching with reality, it's absolutely perfect, because you know exactly what to expect. When you break the rules, it becomes a little bit more difficult. A bug. There's no bug today in the computer. Well, 50 years ago there were bugs in the computers, but not anymore, but we still call this bug. Okay? I want to be in control. Again, I want to know what is happening, and I want to be able to say stop. Or go, or more. We are used to standards. We love to understand the world, and we love the world to be every day different, but the same. You see? So, as silly as it could be, the Control-Alt-Delete, which is extending your fingers to, well, we know what is going on. We know why it's there for. These kind of buttons, these kind of controls, and these kind of standards, we know how they work. If you break the rule because you call this innovation, It has to be natural, it has to be understood. Otherwise, reuse these. We don't like to make errors. It is extremely frustrating. When I can enter any sort of date without being helped, this is extremely frustrating. So we create these kind of controls to help us understand what is going on and to help us from making mistakes. I type fast, I can make spelling mistakes, but Google understands what I'm willing to say. My smartphone is sometimes sending weird messages. This is another story. This is another kind of error prevention that goes weird. Especially when you use surnames, whatever. Okay? We like things to be recognizable, memorizable. Because we don't like to think again and again and again, what should I do, and so on and so forth. So it should be easy, it should be immediate. Once you get it, you keep it for life. You know that basically when moving the lever, your character in the game will move. That's obvious. And please don't use the cross or don't use any other kind of control because it's completely weird. And we like to customize, we like to be in the product. That's the genius of Apple at a certain moment in time. That's the iPhone, that's MySQL, that's WeTransfer, that's YouTube. We love to be there. We love to be part of it. Users, another age. Okay. Flexibility, in-use efficiency. You know, this I like very much. I want to buy something online, and you know that about 1 to 2/3 of the articles that are, bought online go back because it's the wrong size, it's not blah 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 blah, and so on and so forth. So that there's a whole cost in there. And on this website, what they designed is absolutely perfect. They just give me a hint. How tall are you and how big are you? You would probably need a 3XL or a 2XL or an XL or whatever. I love it. And you even have the shape that is changing. I love it less, but whatever. Okay? These kind of guys, I hate that, but I must say that for users, this is fine. These are these virtual assistants. They are there to help you. The problem is that when you ask something clever, then they don't understand. So they don't help. But this is not designed for clever users. Oh, this one is extremely difficult. Aesthetic, zenitude. Okay? What is beautiful? What is not beautiful? You know this one? Absolutely wonderful, eh? That's a superb design. You put the orange or citrus there and you get the juice. Yeah, for the deco, it's perfect. For the rest, forget about it, eh? Because you have dirty hands and don't use that. Okay? But this is beautiful. Identify and correct errors. So again, this is the error prevention, but next step, you made the mistake and it goes a little bit further. No, this is not what you meant. Yeah, of course this is what I meant, and who are you to tell me what I will? Whatever. That's another user. That's another user. Okay? Help and documentation. Of course we don't get, well, when I was your age, most of you, when I bought a piece of software, I had this floppy disk, 3.5 inches, and you had 2 bags for the dock, because the CD was not there already. I told you, I'm a dinosaur. Today, we don't do that anymore, okay? Everything is online. But what is fine with help and documentation is when it comes progressively. When you get the help you need at the moment you need it. This is what users want. I don't want to read 300-page manual. I don't care. And I don't care about troubleshooting because at this moment in time I did not even switch it on. What I want to know is the first time I switch it on, what is happening and what should I say? Okay, this one I will dub because again I have no sound. This is Peter Sellers in the Pink Panther, and he's saying, does your dog bite? And the guy said, no, my dog doesn't bite. And then, of course, he's unhappy and he say, well, you said your dog didn't bite. Yeah, but this is not my dog. And this is it, ladies and gentlemen. So these are standards for managing requirements and usability and these kind of things. And please think about the user experience, not only usability and using your piece of software, but think that there is much more than this all around. And this is what counts, because this is what they will remind. Thank you. Five minutes? Well, our questions are more than welcome. Sorry for the video, I still have no sound, so that's a little bit stupid.
Hello, thank you for your speaking. Very nice. I have a question about the changing behavior for UX for user who is only started to use your application, and then they are going to use it more fast, more professionally. Like in gaming, when you. So, what tips and tricks maybe for UX in such kind of application when we must present it like with good UX for new person, and then it still should be good for professionally using person?
Yeah. Okay, I can give you an example, and well, the basic answer to this is check with your users, choose different population, experts, beginners, and see how they react based upon your interface. But it still doesn't tell you what you have to do. I'm giving you now an example. And I love this example very much. This is Adobe product. This is Photoshop Element, okay? And in Photoshop Element, you have 3 tabs. When you're willing to play with the image and then do some image processing, you have 3 tabs. You have the first tab that is for beginners. And there you just have, on the toolbar, just a small set of tools and commands. And that's it. And it tells you, on these set of tools and commands, what most basic users, beginners, want to do. And what do they want to do? They have a picture of the baby, they have a picture of a mate, they have a picture of a dog. And unfortunately, due to light conditions, you have the red eye, so it looks like a vampire, or you have very yellowish eyes for the dog, so it looks like a hell dog, hound dog, right? And you don't want that. So what you need to do is to retouch a little bit the image and make it dark. Okay? Well, this is exactly explained. So you press the button, and then you get the interface, and you get this round shape, round brush. You just put it on the eyes, you manage, you click, done. Okay? You have these kind of very, very basic kind of processes. You don't want to be a Photoshop expert or anything, you just want to make your photo look good. And that's it. Okay? Then you have the second tab, which is for the intermediate users. And what you do with the intermediate users is you get more tools, but you have processes explained. So this is not a basic retouch, but this is a whole process. So for instance, you want to have one part of the picture that looks like out of the picture. I mean, you have a young girl on the doll or something, on a slide, and she has a foot like this, and you want to have all the background removed so that the foot looks like out of the picture. These kind of wow picture. And it is explained to you step by step. So you click on the button and you have the whole process that is automated for you. So you go there, you create a mask, you put it there, and you just follow the guide. It's really the wizard. That's a wizard. And then you have the third tab, and the third tab is for the expert. And then you get no explanation, no nothing, but you have all the tools. You know what to do with that. You don't need to have the process. And if, by the way, you forgot, you go to the second tab, you get a process, and that's it. You have this wizard stuff that we used a lot. I'm not saying that this is the best thing ever, but it helps. This little kind of video that is showing to your first users This is what is going to happen, this is your experience, this is how you're going to do that. I've been traveling here, and there was something in the airport. This is a crappy airport anyway, but never mind, that's Belgium, welcome to Belgium. But there was something that I liked very much. It was a big screen, and it was showing the plane, the Embraer 175 or something that I flew in. And there were two stairways to come to the plane. And there was a clear separation, and it was just displaying, check your seat. And based upon the seat, if you are in between row 1 and, I can't remember, 16 or 17, you take the stairs on the left, and if you're 16 to 35, you take the stairs on the right. I think it's perfect, because people who are not used to travel don't know more or less where the seat is in a plane. I'm traveling a lot, I have some kind of habit, and I know more or less where I'll be seating. But I suppose that people who just occasionally travel don't know that. So this was perfectly explained. When you go to the security check, it is showing the lady that is, you know, removing the belt or the shoes or these kind of things. You know what is going to happen, and you know, well, actually you never know about security, but never mind. At least you get hint. And these are the kind of things that you should give to the users at first. And then, of course, when you know the drill, you just give them the possibility to escape. You don't force them into that, because then it gets boring. I don't want to see that again. I know what is going to happen. I know that I cannot bring a knife or alcohol or a hand grenade. Of course not. Okay? Sure.
Okay, thank you for your speech. I would like to ask, at what stage of development your application you should start to care about the context of use, and how to know what the context will be for using your application?
That's like testing, as soon as possible. As soon as possible. You should think in the interface and the user interaction before. Even designing your application, you have the possibility to do that. You have wireframes techniques, you have design techniques that are using usability. And of course you have different kind of usability tests all along the life cycle of the application. Yeah.
Hello, thank you very much. I have one interesting question. Let's simulate this situation that user likes the application. He used this for a couple of months, but after half of a year, he thinks, I haven't used this application for half an hour, or let's see what changed for this time, and I want to watch it again. He downloaded it again, and whoa. There's no tutorial, I don't know how to use, but why not tutorial? Because I disabled it the first time when I used this application. And what will you recommend for this to give the valuable user experience for men who already used this application but haven't used it for a long time?
Okay, two answers. Well, first of all, there's an answer that is about memorizability, okay? That's the possibility that you have to memorize the application. So if the application has certain commands, certain logic behind, it should be natural. And once you get it, so the first time you get the tutorial or whatever, once you get it, it should be natural, and it should be, you know, normal behavior. So normally, this application shouldn't be a total surprise when he uses again after 6 months, unless the interface has completely changed, which is another story. Okay, so that is one. Second answer to this one, you have to give the possibility to this user to come back to the tutorial at any moment if he wants to. If you have games, for instance, you have the possibility, some of them, through the interface, to come back to the tutorial. Because maybe you learned how to jump, but you don't know how to hit with a special combo or something, and you want to see it again. At any time in the gameplay, in the game experience, you can switch to that mode, learn, practice, and then do it in real life, I mean, in the game. So there should be the possibility, like my Adobe product, these are tabs. So you can immediately switch from one mode to another if you wish to. That's pretty easy. You just say, I want to be an expert today, or I just want to be intermediate, or I'm just a rookie. And I want to learn it again. And sometimes I do it, because some of the intermediate stuff I don't use and I don't practice every day. And for instance, well, it's a good reminder, and I don't want to, learn all these commands by heart and so on and so forth, so that's perfect. Okay? So this is about delivering the content and the help progressively and giving them the possibility to come back anytime. Now, and this is the last part of my answer, I would say, if the interface has completely changed from version 1 to version 2, I mean in between the 6 months, then what you have to do is to give them the delta. Tell them what is new, what is changed. And you see that very often. In application, you download the new version, and then you have immediately, and in most cases it is completely boring because you get a text file and you have a whole list of everything that has been fixed, which you don't care about, and you just throw it away and you discover on your own. But normally, there are applications that are a little bit more clever and shows you blinking or whatever, this is new, this is a new feature, this is the new concept, and this is the added value. That's it.
We have to finish, so there will be 2 more people to ask questions, and that's all.
Yeah, thank you again. So I read a really beautiful book recently, Why Software Sucks by David Platt. I guess you are familiar with that one.
Why software sucks?
Yeah.
Yes, software sucks, of course. It pays my loan for 20 years, so of course it sucks.
Well, that's a book.
Yeah.
Right. So there was a great idea there you've mentioned on your last report, that the world of IT, of software development 30 years ago was from IT specialist for IT specialist.
Sure.
And it was developed from such a point of view that developing software is a really difficult process in terms of being very new.
Yes.
So that's why the user himself had to be a specialist in software to use it.
Yep.
So it has changed. Now we have it in a really different way, that the user doesn't want and shouldn't know anything and
Correct.
should be able to use it out of the box.
Yes.
Right? And in the meantime, from my consumer point of view, we only have a very limited amount of standards on the buttons being with the same symbols, on the
Absolutely.
same buttons having to do the same stuff.
Yep.
So the question is, from your point of view, knowing those standards, I'm not myself a specialist in usability, are we there yet? Do we already know enough about usability to satisfy current user needs?
No. The answer is no. Who is doing usability today? Very, very few people. Very few people. I had to cancel a training in Paris 2 or 3 days ago because there were only 2 people subscribing. That's about usability, and I give 2 a year. Can you imagine? Of course not. But we think we know. And that's a little bit the problem. We are developing for, I don't know how many years now, let's say 40, 50 years, something. Yeah, Marco is talking about 50 years of experience, so we're surely developing for at least 50 years. But that is the problem. We think we know. But actually we don't know. We just know what we learned, and we just know from our perspective. And this morning I talked about the confirmation bias. And the confirmation bias is exactly that. We think that everyone is thinking like us, and everyone is processing information like us. So we keep on developing stuff based upon big lack of standard, based upon a big bunch of bad practice, which is no usability at all. And then suddenly we face a new category of user, which is Mr. and Mrs. Everybody. And these guys don't understand crap about what we're doing. So yes, usability, and that's not only usability, that is all the ISO 25010 stuff that are going to be of utmost importance. You know, all these things, all these non-functional testing will become of utmost importance because of what I've said this morning, because the complexity is increasing, because the users is much wider than it was before. So yes, we have to practice, yes, we have to integrate this, and yes, we have to convince our bosses that this is of utmost importance. Otherwise, they miss the target. And don't think that this is simple. This is not because we have apps that this is simple. There's another paradigm, you know. Today we have all these kind of things and we can move on the screen and enlarge and oh, wow, 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 it's so simple. But the code that is behind and the interaction that is behind that, it's extremely complex. It's like, you know, pushing a small button and then suddenly you have your nuclear weapon that is propels there. This is it. You're totally disconnected from what is happening behind the screen. Yeah.
Hello, thank you for your speech. Let's imagine that you should explain to product owner that which wants just making features, not to improve UI or for better user experience, that it's important.
Yes.
Please, could you suggest a variant of this explanation?
Could I suggest what? What I should tell the product owners?
Yes.
I should tell many things to the product owner. The problem today with agility and these kind of concepts is that we put people who have no clue on what they are doing into a position where they have to decide about everything. And that's a little bit the problem. So product owners have to be testers, product specialists, and then usability specialists and all these kind of things. But this is not yet done. I mean, these guys were just chosen at a certain moment in time because we changed the paradigm, we changed the organization, and here you are. But they got no training, they got no clue. So they're totally lost in space. I think that the best thing to do, but it's always a problem of money, you just give the application to the user, one user, somebody who doesn't know anything about the application, the new stagiaire, the new, the cleaning lady, use it. And you do that in front of the product owner. And if it works perfectly, then probably he did a good job. If it doesn't work, then he realizes suddenly that, oh, this is not that easy. For the rest, yeah, it's like testing. You know, we're living in a wonderful world. I fought for about 20 years to convince people that testing is a business on its own. I mean, you need to be a specialist. This is not something that you improvise. There are courses, there are knowledge, there are attitude, there are ways of thinking, there is a philosophy behind, you know? Being a tester is not being a developer or product owner or whatever else, okay? And we spend a lot of time convincing people. And now what I see is that testing is now vanishing again and coming to other kind of disciplines, and we have to adapt. And we have to convince these people and say, look, there are matters in which testers are useful. There are matters in which usability is absolutely required and needed. And this is the only differentiator. If we cannot differentiate on the ease of use and the quality of our products, we will be killed by the other ones. As simple as that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks very much again. I think that was the last question, right? Thanks very much again for listening.